So let's start up with something that is helpful for you, because support comes from ZBiotics. Now, let me tell you, this stuff is a game changer. It is called pre-alcohol. Here's the deal. When you drink, alcohol turns into a nasty byproduct in your gut that makes you feel awful the next day. It's not dehydration like everyone says. Everyone thinks it is. It's not. It is that toxin that your body has to process. So ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink was invented by PhD scientists to break that byproduct down so you wake up ready to go. I tried it before, well, Sunday football, drinks, wings, and the whole nine. And then, this morning, hey, I'm good. I was on my game right now. No fog, no crash, no regrets. Okay, so fall means football, tailgates, and a few too many cheers moments. So before you raise a glass to your team, raise a ZBiotics first. So go to zbiotics.com/lemon to get 15% off of your first order with code LEMON, backed by a 100% money back guarantee. That's zbiotics.com/lemon. Use the code LEMON for 15% off, and you'll feel your best the next morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Don Lemon Show Hot Topics. Hope you had a really good weekend. I did, but that's a lot of stuff that's really bothering me. And it is the reaction to this Charlie Kirk story. Now, look, I have half a mind not to cover it at all because I think it's become a distraction. I think it has reached its peak news value at this point until there is another development that, but what's bothering me is and this is not so much about Charlie Kirk. That's the whole thing. And that's why people are, I think people don't understand the sort of tug of war that happens, especially with people of color, especially with black women. Remember, Charlie Kirk said stuff like black women don't have the brain processing power. When I get on a plane, I'm so happy that there's not a black pilot. And I got to tell you, it's so we live in two vastly different worlds, because my mom, who is, old school, went through the civil rights movement, had to, separate schools. Everybody went to Port Allen, either elementary, junior high, high school, and then they had to set up a separate school, Conn Elementary and Conn High School and whatever, for the black kids, and the black kids had to walk to school while the white kids were on the bus. And so, my mom, who is has a master's and just missed getting her doctorate because she had a family and she went to work and blah, blah, blah. So she's a very qualified woman. And the only job that she could get was a secretary at Exxon Chemicals because, racism, America. So it's kind of hard for people to understand, especially when you have the most educated demographic in America, black women, and then you have someone like Charlie Kirk saying black women don't have processing power, brain processing power. And you're like, wait a minute, what? Women are smarter than you. They're college educated. You dropped out of college, and not just college, community college or junior college. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying, if you're talking about brain processing power, all these women who have higher degrees, went to Ivy League schools, some of them are HBCUs, and you have the nerve to say that they don't have brain processing power. Okay. So, you talk about just black pilots. So every time my mom comes, she's like, I don't know what it is with me, Don, but every time I come to see you, she came for the wedding. She said, first thing she said, man, and this was a whole DEI, right? When they were talking about DEI and black pilots. She said, I had a black pilot. She goes, I never had a smoother ride in my life. They were the nicest people. They came back to talk to you, the pilot, and said hello to everybody. And it was so smooth. I loved it. And then she came to visit me this summer. She goes, I don't know what it is. Another black pilot. It was great. She flew home. She goes, it was another black pilot. And I can't tell you it wasn't. And she's not, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not lying. Ask her, because you guys know her. You see her online. And so for people to not to understand, why are you guys trying to deify or, sanctify, that's not even a word, make a saint out of this man? It's not really about his death. No one's saying that he should be shot. That's the whole point. And I think conservatives get that. I'll get to that point. I'll tell you what they're doing. So there is, this is sort of a two different universes, two different worlds that we live in here in America. And I'm generalizing because there are some folks, there's some in every bunch. There's some who are black folks who are like, yeah, I loved him or whatever. Okay, fine. But those are few and far between. Let's just be honest. And so for the most part, people don't understand, like, what is this, all of this flags that have staff for, when most people had no idea who Charlie Kirk was, by the way. You know that, right? I meet a lot of people out there and you see my lives, they're like, I didn't really know him. I just heard about him when this happened, because it was mostly for like younger people who are really politically activated, like college people who are, just wanted to, college people like to fight on campus. And when I went to school at LSU, we had something very similar, and it was called Free Speech Alley. I think Free Speech Alley is still there, where you could go to Free Speech Alley and you could say whatever you want. The thing is that you could then, and you would not get suspended or expelled or, disciplined for saying some shit. People just said whatever it is that they wanted at Free Speech Alley. Much of it was offensive, but I kind of liked Free Speech Alley. But that's not the America that we're living in right now. We live in an America of cancel culture, and it is the cancel culture on the right now that is leading the charge. And the hypocrisy, I've been writing something about this. The hypocrisy on the right about free speech is, it's off the charts. Because think about it. If you actually believed in what Charlie Kirk said he believed in, didn't quite practice all the time, is free speech, then why are you out to cancel people who are using their First Amendment right of free speech to tell you how they feel about Charlie Kirk by using his own words? It doesn't make sense because Charlie Kirk didn't make sense. And so the response is irrational. So they're trying to, all these people are Nancy Mace and Megyn Kelly and all these people, they can't figure out how they want to respond. Is he a crazy loony left liberal? Is he some sort of incel? Is he a furry? Is he whatever? Like they're spinning, trying to, how do we make this make sense? You can't, because it doesn't make sense. Because this is a myth. You're trying to build a myth on a myth. The things that came out of Charlie Kirk's mouth were much of it was hurtful, discriminatory, ignorant, and I'll stop there, to say the least. If someone imagine if, I don't know if any man on the left, who would it be? Who would a black person on the left went around, a black man on the left, or let's just say, I don't know, some black man on the left went around saying, I'm going to pick my friend Michael Eric Dyson, or I'll pick my friend Roland Martin or someone. If they went around saying white women do not have brain processing power and are stealing jobs from black men, the right would fucking lose their minds. Mark Lamont Hill, Roland, Michael Eric Dyson. Let's say these brothers are Bakari Sellers or someone like that. If they went around saying some shit like that, they would be canceled immediately. They would be fired. People would scrub them from their whatever business that they work for. Or if they said, when I get on a plane and I see a white pilot, I'm like, damn, we're going to, I'm worried. Imagine what it would be like. And so now you are trying to, make someone into something that they simply were not. And by saying that, you might think that I'm taking glee in his death. Well, that's not you. Most people wouldn't think that. Most rational people don't think that. Most people who don't think through a right-wing, crazy MAGA brain ideology will understand that you can say, I'm sorry for what happened to him. I don't believe that anyone should die that way. I don't think he deserves that. I have empathy for his family and his children and all of that. But yet, I don't understand this other part. I mean, would you do that around other people in history who made awful remarks like that? So for people who are making sense and trying to explain it to you and then putting his own words up for you to try to get you to understand, like, you're doing too much here. And I'm going to tell you why. It has nothing to do with your core beliefs or that he was some, as Glenn Beck said, whatever the fuck is crazy, that he was some sort of civil rights icon or civil rights leader. No. And do not put him on on a page or a picture with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That is even more insulting. But, you know, I'm not easily triggered. I see what you're doing. So let me tell you what you're doing. And you guys need some therapy. You are trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense because you know that's not Charlie Kirk. He wasn't that. And perhaps Charlie Kirk was the de facto, I think my producer for this was the de facto press secretary. Caroline Leavitt is not really the press secretary. She's just a mouthpiece. She just repeats whatever they tell her in the room and she does it and then she just moves on to the next. So, I mean, she's irrelevant, inconsequential to this. So he's a de facto press secretary, right? Because of the young people he helped Donald Trump, you know, with the young people, and that helped to push him into usher him into the presidency this time because he animated a part of the electorate that wasn't there. Charlie Kirk was part of that. He wasn't the whole thing because there was a whole lot of things about going on to, you know, the brosphere, the manosphere, and all these right-wing guys who don't even realize that they're right-wing. They think that they're libertarian, but they're not. A lot of people in the you know, a lot of our people who are in the zeitgeist, business moguls, people who own media companies, they think they're libertarians, but they're not. They're just outright right-wingers. And far-right MAGA right-wingers. So now you're trying to rationalize something that's not. And the thing that is so obvious about it, and I think this is so disgusting, is that you don't really care. You don't really care about Charlie Kirk. What you care is that this is a moment that you can use for clicks, to boost your podcast or your streaming show or your radio show or your television show or your news show or your MAGA bona fides with the MAGA group or your political stripes, that you can improve it, or you can have a moment where you're crying in front of the cameras. You gather all the reporters at the Capitol and you go, and it's your fault, and it's your fault, and it's the left and whatever. And then, you know, like, what's her name? Nancy Mace is online and it's like, whoa, she is having a full multiple personality, odd moment where she is posing questions about things that are inconsequential. Should I do this? And then she's answering herself on social media. Now, I'm just saying, if I did that, not only my mama, but my friends would call me up and say, hey, Don, you okay? Are you all right? And they would be serious about it. Like, hey, come on, man, let's go out. Let's go take a walk. Or trying to blame Black people for the racism that they have suffered because you are just flat out racist and you can't see it. You hate to admit it, but your actions and your reactions prove every single time that you are that thing. And now I'm going to start again. I'm going to start with what is going on. And producers, you're gonna have to go with me. This is not the show that we had planned, but you know, my producers always go, we have something there, and then you go to it. That's been my career. I've done that my entire career. Ask the folks at CNN. And that's why the show is successful, is because it's real. This isn't scripted. Let's do I don't like to talk about her, but let's show just the sort of whipsaw, irrational, illogical response. This is just one, and she's just one. And I don't like to talk about her, but it's just, she's a perfect example this time. Okay, and I'm going to, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Megyn Kelly.
Check out this clip and let's talk on the other side.
We don't feel like ourselves. We haven't felt like ourselves in a while. And I'm sorry to get political, but I'm just going to be honest. We haven't felt like ourselves since Barack Obama. I just think he was such a slick snake. You know, he was this affable guy who was like wearing good suits and looked the part and sounded the part and dressed the part, but was so divisive in his messaging. The left, they look at you like when you say this, they don't know what you're talking about. It's like, because you don't pay attention to the other half of the country. You only pay attention to your absurd news sources, which spin and spin and spin to protect Democrats, especially if they're named Obama. He's the one who started to inject race where no one had been doing it.
Existing while black upsets racists. Pointing out when you are upset about something while black upsets racists. Calling racism racist upsets racists. And to be clear, I made a video last week and I said one of the reasons why we're in the spot that we're in right now is because America hates women. And I also want to be very clear that one of the reasons why we're in the spot right now is because America hates black people. And America has always hated black people, especially when we wouldn't just do what y'all wanted us to do. But y'all hated us even more when one of us actually represented the country. The day that Barack Obama got elected was the day that white supremacy decided that it was not only going to take over, but it was going to burn the country to the ground before it ever let someone who looked like me be in that seat again. So I'm so glad that Megyn Kelly is actually saying the part out loud that the very existence of a black president is when she believes that this country stopped being itself. And it did. There's a book by Ta-Nehisi Coates I have somewhere around here, but it's called We Were 8 Years in Power. Ta-Nehisi Coates does in that book is he draws a correlation between the 8 years of Reconstruction and the 8 years that Obama was president. And the reality is, for those 8 years, while white supremacy still tried to do everything it could to tear Obama down, we still had something. We had hope. And when black folks have hope, white folks will do whatever they can to squash it. So congratulations, Megyn Kelly. This is now the country you wanted. Aren't you happy? Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Thanks, brother. Sometimes you just don't have to say anything. You can let other folks say things. You know who else is having one of those moments of, I need to be politically relevant. The other one was like, I need to push my business, my podcast business. That's what that one is. But I need to, the one before this one with what's her face is that I need to make my podcast business more relevant and more profitable. But I need to figure out a way to rationalize it, or every day I need to come back with some shit that pisses people off so that they talk about it. It is a distraction. And don't get me wrong, Epstein. We're not talking about Epstein. The administration is really happy about it. Whew, finally, we found the thing, which is sad because they are using Charlie Kirk's untimely, awful ending, death, to distract from the thing that they don't want you most to talk about, and that is Epstein. And we are falling for it. And we're going to fall for it for a little bit longer, because I'm going to explain to you why we're falling for it and what they're doing. And hopefully that we can get back to discussing the thing that's the most important. Do we have a president that's involved? Why do we have a president that has so many connections to the most prolific modern day pedophile? Two of them, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And why are they doing everything they can to change the subject, or to not release those files? Why are they doing everything to redact his name from those files? So I'm not saying that this Charlie Kirk thing was a whole big sinister plot to, but I'm saying never let, and they know it, Republicans know it, Stephen Miller knows it, Steve Bannon knows it, Donald Trump knows it. Don't let it like a scandal or political stuff, you have to use that opportunity, and they're using that opportunity to distract from the Epstein files. And that is why you see them doing this, all of them. I can't believe the liberal left is whatever, Charlie Kirk, and they are evil, and we must eradicate the evil, whatever. Hi, boss. How did I do? They're not talking about Epstein right now, right? They're not talking about Epstein. Oh, my God. They're so gullible. They're not talking about Epstein. They're falling for it. You guys know what I'm saying. Come on now. Where is the lie? The most important thing that we should be talking about right now is Epstein and Donald Trump, because he is the president and he has the most connections besides Ghislaine Maxwell that I know of to Jeffrey Epstein. We're not talking about the birthday book. We're not talking about him signing a pubic hair, his name. We're not talking about any of that stuff. But we're talking about Charlie Kirk, who's the story. Sorry, most stories, the shelf life in this media environment is not even a day. It's a couple of hours. And we've gone on for almost a week with Charlie Kirk. Now, there will be developments, the funeral and all that stuff. And they're going to turn that into, they're doing it in a big arena in Arizona. It is going to be like the WWE. It's going to be like wrestling. And Fox will run the whole thing, the pageantry on Fox News. And then Fox TV, on the other hand, is going to be covering the football. So they get both. They get the football, and then they get the political football. In the meantime, the family, I'm sure, is like spinning. They don't know, the poor wife and poor whatever. And they're just... Because I know, and I've had deaths recently in the family, and the last thing that you want to do is be in front of people publicly. You just want, just everybody, just please go away. Just thank you so much. Thank you for everything, all your gifts, all your flowers, your presents, you just need to be alone with my family, with our family right now. But not if there's war. The political. Am I lying? Not the only. So Megyn Kelly's not the only one. There are others. And I'm going to give you examples. But first, a word from our sponsors. Support comes from MSI Reproductive Choices. Now, I read this just the other day, and it really stopped me cold. The Trump administration is destroying $10 million worth of contraception paid for by taxpayers. And meanwhile, 257 million women around the world want contraception, but they can't get it because they're poor, they're too young, or they live in places where it just is not available. So here's the hard truth. When women can't get the contraception, you see more unplanned pregnancies, more unsafe abortions. In many countries, pregnancy is still the #1 killer of young women. MSI is out there, and they are changing dollars and 50 cents. It gives women the help that they need. $6.50 can give one woman the help that they need for a full year of contraception. And that's it. For $65, you can help 10 women take control of their lives. So you can keep girls in school and women working. Text LEMON to 511-511 or go to msiunitedstates.org. That's msiunitedstates.org. Text fees may apply. Support today comes from Mint Mobile. You know what I used to be? I was a procrastinator. Yeah. Always putting off things that could save me money until I heard about Mint Mobile's best deal of the year, and that is 50% off of unlimited premium wireless for new customers. So you can switch today, and you can pay just $15 a month for 3 months. It's unlimited premium wireless, same 5G network, same crystal clear service as the big guys, but for a fraction of the price. My team tried it. Zero difference in quality. Huge difference in savings, okay? And here is the thing. You can keep your same phone, your same number, your same contacts. But hurry, This deal ends on September 22nd. It ends on September 22nd, okay? Go to mintmobile.com/Don Lemon to get started. That's mintmobile.com/Don Lemon and save. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors. Really appreciate it. Okay, so now back to the program. Now, again, I want to make this very clear. Keep giving caveats. This is not about Charlie Kirk. It is awful what happened to him. Whoever did it should suffer the most consequences possible for committing that crime. I don't believe in political violence, but I can see a grift with my eyes closed. Now, all of a sudden, every single person who loves attention, every single attention seeker and clout chaser was best friends with, I was just my best friend. Oh my God, I'm so whatever. Everybody's using it for their own career uplift, career and political expediency. And one of the people who's having a moment that I mentioned is Nancy Mace. This is her last week, and then I'll show you the latest one where she's just blaming everybody except for the person. I have no idea. She's just having a moment. Here it is.
And I'm going to say this. Democrats own what happened today. I am devastated. My kids have called panicking. They probably, all the kids of every conservative in the country call panicking. Just because you speak your mind on an issue doesn't mean you get shot.
Then by that logic,
can you pause, please? Can you pause, please? Just because you speak your mind on an issue doesn't mean you get shot. 100%. 100%. And just because, remember this, Nancy Mace, because you've been there, all of you, just remember this. Just because you speak your mind on an issue, it doesn't mean that you should get fired either. No, you didn't lose sound. I'm just trying to let you guys let that sink in. Just because you speak your mind on a political issue does not mean that you should get fired, which is happening now, which is cancel culture, which is authoritarian, which is a dictatorship, which is not about the First Amendment. We're no longer in First Amendment territory, folks. That hasn't happened for a while, but look, I know more than anyone, that has been going on for a minute now, but you guys didn't see it. So now the momentum is picking up and now you see it. Oh, no. We can't have that. We cannot have those mouthy people speaking the truth or just speaking their piece. We can't have that. You have to speak our piece. You can't challenge bigots or racists or political figures or oligarchs. No. You can't challenge the very people who say, oh, we believe in freedom of speech. And then all of a sudden, when you give them free speech, oh, you're fired. You got to go. We're going to talk about all of that. So this is Nancy Mace. Just back up a little bit. And this is Ryan Noble. Ryan Noble now works, the guy in the pink tie, now works for MSNBC. He worked for CNN, but, you know, he left. And then he went to MSNBC. But Ryan, good job. Keep going.
Then by that logic, do Republicans own the shooting of the two Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota?
Political.
Isn't this on both sides?
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm asking
We
you a
don't
serious
know what
question.
condition Charlie Kirk is in right now. Some raging leftist lunatic put a bullet through his neck, and you want to talk about Republicans right now? No.
No, I'm asking
no, not
you.
at all.
You said the Democrats have donated to.
No,
But
this
I'm
is
asking,
on. Democrats own this.
But isn't there a problem with
this.
political violence across the spectrum?
Yeah, we're talking about Charlie Kirk right now. That's the subject of this that we're talking about right now. Democrats own this 100%.
Okay. See, she had a glitch right there because she didn't have an answer. You have yes. Is this not what's good for the goose? Is this not, shouldn't everybody be under the same rules? And then here she is, I believe she's on CNN.
And it's putting our lives at risk. How many times did someone try to kill President Trump last year? I mean,
more than once.
Yeah.
My point is, I think the word we should be used more often, not them and us? Like, the word we would make a big difference.
Well, certainly, but right now,
Because
it's very one-sided right now. The way that I have never called one of my colleagues the kind of names that we've been called. I've never dehumanized my colleagues. In fact, when I've agreed with a Democrat, I've said so. I'm actually, regardless of the press actually covers me, I'm the 22nd most bipartisan member of Congress. If you're willing to work with me, I'm willing to work with you. That has always been the message. Okay. But because I'm outspoken about rape, because I'm outspoken about survivors, I face a different kind of threat.
This is a distraction. Keep going, though. But she's deflecting. Go on.
All the time. It's imminent, and I fear just walking around trying to be a normal person, trying to be a good, hardworking member of Congress, and I have real, deep-rooted, realistic threats that are coming through every single day, and I fear just walking out in public is dangerous to my life.
Yeah. And no one should have that fear. But I always appreciate you coming in and have the conversation.
Thank you.
Okay, so and then Kate, this is a good job. Here's what I would have done. I would have played some of her own words that moment with Ryan Noble. I would have played for her. And I remember when I was there last week or the week before, she had a full-on breakdown in front of me. I watched it. And then she asked me to respect her privacy. And I did. And you guys said, why did you respect her? She doesn't respect anybody's privacy. Have you ever seen, when she says she doesn't call names or whatever, have you ever seen how she talks about trans women? You ever seen how she demonizes them? You ever seen some of the language and the stuff that she said about people? And then I would have said, okay, this is why I want, if I were Kate, I'm not, when we say the word we would go a long ways, it is because you are a staunch supporter of President Trump. You are one of his number one defenders. And this is what President Trump has said, and you are claiming that this only and mostly comes from the left. But this is your own president, okay? So I want you to respond to this, Nancy Mace. Play it.
Violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. I really do. I hate them. I cannot stand them because I really believe they hate our country. It is the enemy from within, and they're very dangerous. It's a very demonic party. Maniacs, they're lunatics. Radical left lunatics. Radical left lunatic. The radical left thugs that live like vermin within the confines of our country. All these people, all this scum. They're scum. They're scum. And they want to take down our country. They are absolute garbage. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face.
You couldn't. And then for putting Donald Trump's own words on the screen and video, for putting it up and playing it, someone will say that I am hateful when the words coming out of his mouth are hateful. That is like how deep the depths of the cult and the shit that not only the cultism, but that racism and wrong political ideology, that is the damage that it does to people. They can't understand that. Everything, they try to rationalize everything. Even when this man says that, they'll say, well, he's talking about the Democrats. Donald Trump said most of that shit, if not all of it, before Charlie Kirk. And for years, he has been saying it. And even when you tell people, as I try to when I'm out on the streets, and that according to the government, according to the studies, according to the Anti-Defamation League, according to the FBI, most of the political violence in this country comes from the right, 75% of it at least. And it is deemed terrorism as well. It is domestic terror. It's not coming from people from foreign countries, from the Muslims. It's coming from radicalized white men on the right. But yet and still, somehow it is the Democrats' fault. Do Democrats do it? Yes. 4%. Doesn't make it right. They do it. It's awful. It should not happen. This is from, again, I keep putting this up every single time. This is from the Anti-Defamation League, and I'm sure there are FBI numbers that back this up. Domestic extremist related killings in the U.S. by perpetrator affiliation 2013 to 2022. Let me read it for you. There were 444 total deaths. Right-wing extremists are responsible for the great majority of extremist-related murders over the last decade. Right-wing extremism, all movements, 75%. Left-wing extremism, including anarchists and black nationalists, 4%. Domestic Islamist extremism, 20%. Other miscellaneous extremism, 1%. Source, the Anti-Defamation League. And you have the nerve, Nancy Mace. And also, Carrie Lake is having her grifter moment too. Here it is.
At one moment, that 22-year-old who shot Charlie was a baby in his mother's arms. And by all accounts, those parents did a good job raising him until he was sent off to be brainwashed. We have lived through the most horrific brainwashing campaign in the history of mankind. And the very fact that we're all here means we have somehow survived it. We've survived it. But too many youngsters are not surviving it. And we got to stand up. Because some things are non-negotiable. Our children's minds and futures are non-negotiable.
Boy, she went around the corner to find that one, right? Let's see what I can do. And now all of a sudden people are going to college and they're being brainwashed. Now, mind you, most of the people in the Trump administration, they won't let on to this. They are college educated, many of them Ivy League. And so were they brainwashed when they went to college? Was J.D. Vance brainwashed when he went to, was it Harvard or Yale? I forget. Was he brainwashed? Or all of the folks who are ahead of the Besants and all those folks and the Lutnicks and all those people who went to college, were they brainwashed? Or were they part of the people that Donald Trump loves, the poorly educated? It is so blatantly obvious what's happening right now. It is so blatantly obvious what is happening right now. And these people, again, this isn't about Charlie Kirk. He just happens to be the vessel through which they are grifting right now. They'll use it every single time. Whatever they can. I don't know what to say. And the thing is that people are losing their jobs over it. They're being canceled for it. There are enemies lists regarding this stuff. I believe this is from the Washington Post, Andy, that yes. We have the headline. Workers are getting fired, placed on leave over Charlie Kirk's posts. Over Charlie Kirk posts. This is the show that we had planned for you. Within 24 hours of Charlie Kirk's killing, an assistant dean at Tennessee College, a communications staffer for an NFL team, a next door employee in Milwaukee, and the co-owner of a Cincinnati barbecue restaurant were fired after posting stuff. They had all used language or memes their employees deemed offensive or insensitive about the 31-year-old conservative firebrand. Over the last few days, Kirk's assassination or killing, let's say, has evoked strong feelings divided along party lines, divided along race. On the right, there were mostly mournful expressions and demands for retribution. On the left, there was mostly condemnation of political violence and some dark suggestions that he had it coming. Quote, "Look like old Charlie spoke his fate into existence." That's what Laura Sosh-Lightsey said, an assistant dean of the students at Middle Tennessee State University, posted on Wednesday on Facebook. Hate begets hate, zero sympathy. Before the day was over, MTSU President Sidney McPhee had issued a statement announcing that Sosh-Lightsey had been terminated over her inappropriate and callous comments as they were inconsistent with our values. She did not respond to a request for comment to the newspaper. At least a dozen employers, including the Carolina Panthers, University of Mississippi, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency, have put staff members on leave or dismissed them for their online activity, as well as apologized for and publicly disavowed, their remarks. The rash of disciplinary actions over workers' responses to Kirk's killing online and in real life highlight the tension between employees' right to free speech and employers' need to protect their reputations and maintain civility among their ranks. That is a huge issue. My friend Jolly is standing by, our chief Washington correspondent, to discuss this, because Jolly, we got to tell you, you spoke about there is a real sort of enemies list that's being built among media figures and influencers. We're going to discuss that and more. And we're going to talk to you about the Matthew Dowds of it all. And now Karen Attiah from the Washington Post, a Black woman, being fired for posting Charlie Kirk's words. Just a quote from him. Fired from the Washington Post. 2 minutes. I'll be with Jolly. First, a word from our sponsors. Support comes from Wild Alaskan Company. When was the last time you trusted the seafood that you brought home? I do now because of Wild Alaskan Company. It is wild caught. It's never farmed, no antibiotics. There's no GMOs, just clean, delicious fish that is right off the boat. My personal favorite is the sockeye salmon. I tell you guys that all the time. It tastes like the ocean itself. Fresh, rich, incredible. Good ocean, the clean ocean. Perfect for the grill or a quick weeknight dinner. Okay? So you can, every order supports sustainable fishing communities. You can taste the difference in every single bite. You get $35 off your first box at wildalaskan.com/lemon. That's wildalaskan.com/lemon for $35 off of your first order. Taste the difference. Trust the source. Support comes from Shopify. When I started this show, it was just a dream. Now it's real, and Shopify helped make it happen. Shopify powers millions of businesses worldwide with tools to design your site, sell your products, even run email campaigns all in one place. Here at the Don Lemon Show, we use Shopify for our merch store, and it couldn't be easier. You can build a beautiful site, automate discounts, even find new customers with built-in marketing tools. And if you ever get stuck, there's award-winning 24/7 customer support. Award-winning 24/7 support. Sign up for a $1 per month trial at shopify.com/lemon. That's shopify.com/lemon. Start your business today with Shopify and turn your dreams into with Shopify. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thank you to all of our sponsors. And thank you to Jolly Good Ginger for joining us. Hey, Jolly, how you doing this morning?
Hey, Don, how are we doing?
Doing okay. This started, I believe, the first one that came to light publicly was Matthew Dowd, right?
Right.
And here is, now I want everyone to listen to what Matthew Dowd said. You can tell me, maybe you think he's harsh, maybe you think he's wrong, whatever, but I want you to listen. And then he was fired very quickly after this. Here it is.
I'm going to bring you in on this. Talk to me about the environment. There
the reports of exactly what happened are not confirmed yet. But talk to me about the environment in which a shooting like this happens.
Yeah, and again, emphasize what you just emphasized. We don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea about this. But following up with what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
Okay. Now you tell me what you think about that. And there was more, I'm sure there's some context after that, but Charlie?
I mean, it's an impartial viewing of a situation to say that if you preach hate, hate might find you. That's a reality. Now, I don't think he was saying Charlie should have been shot. I don't think he ever said that. But it doesn't matter. I think what's more important is that the only reason he was fired is because this administration is calling for censorship of anyone who isn't basically praising Charlie Kirk. The Department of Defense, Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, put a memo out just 2 days ago saying that he wants every entity in the Department of Defense, not just the military, but the civilian side too, to look at everyone's social media.
No, look at the words. Staff to hunt for negative Charlie Kirk posts by service members. Yeah.
And then to discipline those who are found. That, for if you're in the military, that likely means some harsh punishment, maybe even getting kicked out. If you're a civilian, that means you're getting fired. You're going to lose your job. A friend of mine who had put up some not so friendly Charlie Kirk post and who is a employee of the Department of Defense, civilian employee, has been for a long time. He went to his IG where he had initially put that post up, that very negative IG post, and he tagged Pete Hegseth and he said, fucking fire me then. Because this is censorship. This is 100% attacking the Constitution. This is attacking freedoms and liberties. This is, I mean, there's no way to talk your way out of this, Don. There's no way to put a spin on this where this is anything other than an attack on the First Amendment. What's supposed to be one of the most foundational parts of our Constitution. And listen, I'm going to briefly speak for 30 seconds about a guy who in 1938 was assassinated in Germany. This is a true story. I plan on doing a longer video on my YouTube later about it. His name is Ernst von Roth. He was assassinated in 1938 in Germany. After his assassination, Hitler and his regime lied about the motivation of this shooter. They made up a story about the motivation of the shooter, blaming it on the entire Jewish population, declared war on the entire Jewish population, and shortly afterwards, Kristallnacht happened, which is where they just started, basically citizens went through the country and were attacking Jewish people, and the German officials looked the other way and let it happen. It was the rhetoric from the top that sparked these riots through the country to attack the Jewish people. The guy who was murdered, who was assassinated, Ernst von Roth, once said he felt bad that there was anti-Semitic laws, but felt they were necessary. They were necessary to allow the German community to flourish. Very similarly, Charlie Kirk said that gun laws were necessary to allow the Second Amendment. So while these are parallels and not exact metaphors, it's really crazy, Don, to look at what has already happened in history and see where we are now. This is not hyperbole. We're not drawing lines where they don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
This is what this administration is doing, what Nancy Mace, who you just played, what Carrie Lake, who you just played, what Donald Trump and all these others, Hegseth and everybody is doing, is they are grabbing this assassination And they are using that to feed this emotional red meat to MAGA.
Yep.
In hopes that they do exactly what happened in 1938 Germany and Kristallnacht happens. They're hoping they attack the liberals and the leftists, and then they're going to turn their heads the other way. And I'm afraid to say it, I think there's some Democratic leadership that'll turn their heads too, just happy that it's not them. This is where we are. And if we don't acknowledge that very, very soon, it's going to be way too late to acknowledge it.
This is, so you heard Matthew Dowd. Thank you for that, Jolly. You heard Matthew Dowd. Okay. And again, this was at the beginning of breaking news. No one was saying Charlie Kirk. They didn't know his condition. They didn't say that he was dead or that it was even confirmed. It said reports that he had been shot. Didn't say confirmed. This is in the beginning. And in the beginning, a lot of things changed. And the guy said, look, we don't know. It could be someone shooting their gun. We don't know what it is right now. This is new. But, however, this is who Charlie Kirk is, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now, personally, myself, you can think that's sensitive or insensitive. I don't think that's a reason for anyone to be fired. I actually think these things are reasons for people to actually have bigger, broader, deeper conversations. But everyone is afraid right now.
Hey, Don.
The boss, and they're afraid of getting fired for if they don't carry the water from up top. Go ahead, Jolly.
Was Brian Kilmeade fired?
That's where I'm going. So you heard what he said. Now, this is Brian Kilmeade on Fox News. He said something that I thought was much worse than what Matthew Dowd said. He's still there. Here it is. Play it.
Billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, Brian, why did it have to get to this point?
Right. I would say this. We're not voting for the right people. In North Carolina, wake up.
Okay. And he said that involuntary lethal injection just killed them. Okay. And then this happened a day later.
And it actually happened when we were together on Wednesday, Lawrence. In the morning, we were discussing the murder of Irina Zaruska in Charlotte, North Carolina, and how to stop these kinds of attacks by homeless, mentally ill assailants, including institutionalizing or jailing such people so they cannot attack again. Now, during that discussion, I wrongly said they should get lethal injections. I apologize for that extremely callous remark. I'm obviously aware that not all mentally ill homeless people act as the perpetrator did in North Carolina, and that so many homeless people deserve our empathy and compassion. Lawrence, back to you.
All right, thanks, Brian. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, can I tell you? Let me just run with this because I've been there for years. You say something on the air and whatever, and then, oh my gosh, all hell breaks loose and they're worried, and then it goes to someone from PR writes an apology or a response or a clarification, and probably the anchor was like, I want to say this, blah, blah, blah. And they go, well, you have to say this. We'll make it short. And many times they'll say, well, you don't have to say it's an apology. You can just say, I just wanted to clarify or explain. But this one, I think they thought it was big enough to be an apology. And so that little statement was read off of the teleprompter. Am I wrong? So anyways, but he still has a job. And I'm not saying he should get fired. That's not my point. I'm just pointing out the double standard here. No one is going to complain about it in the administration. None of the right-wing bosses are upstairs are going to complain about it. None of the right-wing shareholders are going to complain about it. None of the oligarchs are going to complain about it because they want their shit to go through. This guy is speaking for Donald Trump, the administration, and speaking their worldview as well. So it's okay. Just like the guy on Fox News who called Kamala Harris the original Hawk-Tuah girl. Nothing. Where was the outrage? Was anybody fired for that? Right. Does anybody let go? It happens all the time. And so again, there's a double standard on the left and the right, and people try to give it false equivalence. Charlie Kirk was a champion of free speech, and anyone who says otherwise will be fired. That's Judd Legum. Okay. And hold on, before you respond, Jolly. This is, I think is it Stephen Miller? Because I know Don Jr. says that kick Dems off the cable airwaves. That's what he said last week. But this is, I want to play, this is Stephen Miller. Listen.
And let me tell you something I've not shared with anybody, but the last message that Charlie Kirk gave to me before he joined his creator in heaven was he said that we have to dismantle and take on the radical left organizations in this country that are fomenting violence. That was the last message that he sent me before that assassin stole him from all of us. And we are going to do that under President Trump's leadership. I don't care how. It could be a RICO charge, a conspiracy charge, conspiracy against the United States, insurrection. But we are going to do what it takes to dismantle the organizations and the entities that are fomenting riots, that are doxing, that are trying to inspire terrorism, and that are committing acts of wanton violence. It has to stop. And my message is to all of the domestic terrorists in this country spreading this evil hate. You want us to live in fear? We will not live in fear, but you will live in exile. Because the power of law enforcement under President Trump's leadership will be used to find you, will be used to take away your money, take away your power, and if you've broken the law, to take away your freedom, Sean.
Hey, boss, how did I do? I distracted him from the Epstein files, but go on. Which it's not fun. It's laughable, but it's scary.
Okay, I agree with, this is a distraction for the Epstein files narrative. I don't disagree with that. I also don't think that if the Epstein files dropped tomorrow, that fuck all would happen. I want to be clear about this. I know while we're continuing to say that, because I agree they're trying to hide it, but I think if they dropped tomorrow, nothing would happen. Because let me tell you something, the bigotry and hate and the death grip on white supremacy, the last remaining remnants and hope of white supremacy that white America is clinging to, has dominated their thinking. This guy, Stephen Miller, just went on TV and made up a completely fake-ass story about Charlie Kirk's last message to him. I'll take things that never happened for 1,000, Alex. But the thing is,
because I want to go back to that, but go on, Jolly.
There's this emotion that is invoked about someone's last words. It's their dying wishes mentality. It's this emotional prodding, this emotional red meat that they're giving him. Go back to the guy who, I'll say it for you, should have been fucking fired for talking about involuntary lethal injection of someone for no other crime than not owning a home. If we live in a country where you should be killed for not owning a home, and this walk back of, well, I was talking about the mentally deranged people that are out there killing people. No, you weren't, because that's also not true. This is just also things that didn't happen for 1,000, Alex. So you understand, they lied about the motive of the shooter. They lied about everything related to the shooter before we even knew who it was. They're lying about the disposition of the unhoused. And they're lying about Charlie Kirk's martyrdom so that they can foment this war against the left. So the reason I brought up, I don't think the Epstein files will change anything, because listen to me. Donald Trump is nothing more than a useful idiot to the Heritage Foundation, to Stephen Miller, to Steve Bannon, to Alex Jones and Russell Vaught and Peter Thiel, and all of these. He's nothing more than a useful idiot that they were able to usher in their new era of white supremacy with. They know that he doesn't have much time left on this earth because he's 79 years old, suffering from congenital heart failure, and eats McDonald's every day. So they know they don't have to worry about him much longer. So they could give a fuck less if he's in the Epstein files or not. He cares. He personally is invested because he's trying to protect his fucking own image, which is shot. It's too late. We know you're in the files, dude. But
okay. Well, I'll say about that in the congestive heart failure and all that. I'll say allegedly. Go on.
Yes, and I won't. Don's allegedly, and I'm not. So what I'm saying is, the ultimate goal of this entire thing is to invoke civil unrest as a way to literally attack any oppositional thought to the far right agenda, to white Christian nationalism. That's their ultimate goal. And everyone needs to realize that before it is too late. They want to invoke civil unrest, and they're okay if that escalates to flat out civil war.
Yeah. Jolly, I said, hold that thought about things that, didn't happen.
Right.
For this, because it's a tactic that is used by Donald Trump, and his kids do whatever he does. They mimic, especially Don Jr. But this is Eric. I probably on Fox News or some conservative channel. This is Eric Trump. Now listen to this.
Well, I mean, Erica right there was so powerful. I watched the entire thing. I couldn't believe her strength and her courage. There's that famous quote right after Pearl Harbor. I think we've just awoken a sleeping giant and filled him with terrible resolve. And it kind of rings true here. That's exactly what you did. It literally, as I was showing up to the studio, Maria, there was an older Jamaican man who came up to me in very broken English and said, "Mr. Trump, I'm very sorry about Charlie Kirk. He was an amazing Christian. I am Charlie Kirk," right? It's transcended the generation of youth. Like, everybody over the last, couple days has been talking about how Charlie created the greatest youth movement. What's happened with this assassination has affected everybody. I've had employees, Maria, call me and say, my 17-year-old daughter has been in her room crying. It's changed her immensely.
Okay. Now, the young people thing, I think he's wrong. Most people I know, seriously, most people I know, especially around, they're like, I don't know him. I think the vast majority of people in America had no idea who he was. And so, listen, this isn't about Charlie Kirk. This isn't about his wife, awful, terrible. This is about what Eric Trump is doing. It's the very same thing that his father does. Okay. When 1,000, that didn't happen, Alex. Here it is. So this is his dad.
I'm not a big crier, and not somebody that goes around crying a lot.
Wouldn't I look bad if I was crying? How would you guys feel about Trump would cry? How would China feel if I walked in crying because I couldn't make the right deal?
I have so many people. I was just walking up, and every time it happens. When I came in backstage, it happens all the time. It happens every time. A very, very powerful guy, big, strong guy.
He was a strong, tough guy.
Strong, tough cookie. Big, strong guy. And he's crying with tears coming down on his face. Said, "Thank you, Mr. President, for saving our country." This happens all the time. Thank you, sir, for saving our country. And he was crying. And I'm telling you, he was crying. I don't think this guy cried when he was a baby. In fact, I looked at him and I said, I wouldn't want to fight these guys. Well, they were strong, tough men and women. And half of them were crying. A big, strong guy grabbed me. And he was almost crying. Half of them had tears coming down their face. Of the 9, 8 of them were crying. They were crying. I mean, there were like 8 or 9 of them, and only one wasn't. And I said, "What's your problem?" And I don't cry. Very tough, very strong, very powerful men. They were crying, actually. And they were crying with happiness.
One person
Okay, I think we get the point. You get my point, Jolly.
Oh, yeah, shit that didn't happen. Listen, I want to say really quickly before I elaborate on your point, I find it odd that Trump just walks around fantasizing about big, strong men coming up to him and grabbing his hands in tears. Whatever, that's for Trump to work out with his therapist. So these are things that definitely didn't happen, but that's what they do. They lie. By the way, this is the same Donald Trump who, when asked about, hey, your friend Charlie Kirk was just killed, this is the day after he died, day after, how are you feeling? How are you right now? And Donald Trump's answer was, I think I'm good. Look over there. They're building my big, beautiful ballroom. So, don't convince me that Donald Trump gives a half of an iota of a fuck about Charlie Kirk. The same Donald Trump that after he told you about his ballroom being built, when asked about Charlie Kirk, he went to a Yankees game and was dancing in the stands. Donald Trump doesn't have a human connection with another person. He doesn't have, he's a sociopath. But they're going to use this guy, this Charlie Kirk guy, like you said. Not even everybody knows him, but now they do. They're going to use him, make him a martyr, rewrite who he was, and use this emotion to try super hard to create some sort of civil unrest. That's what they want. Don, that's what they need. I'm going to say this. Us out here in the streets doing civil disobedience, these protests we're doing, these petitions we're doing, these appeals we're making to Congress, these continuous civil disobedience we're doing is disrupting their plan. Listen, he said, I'm going to send the fucking National Guard to Chicago. Pritzker said, not today. He said, I'm going to send the fucking National Guard to Baltimore. Westmore said, not today. So now he's forced to send them to Memphis because the Tennessee governor will roll over and lick some boots and let him. But the fact is, when they said we're going to send ICE in, here in D.C. where I'm at, the community chases ICE down, locates where they are. Everybody's on the same app. We go out, we record them, we shame them. They stop coming. They stop their stupid ass checkpoints. Civil disobedience is working, and we are fighting against this regime. And he knows that come the 2026 election that we are going to beat him. We are going to win. If he gerrymanders, we gerrymander. That's where we are. So he, and by he, I mean the Heritage Foundation, Russell Vought, Stephen Miller, and the rest of the crew have determined that our best way to make sure that we destroy the rest of what is American democracy is civil unrest. You heard Donald Trump say on live air to, who was it, Vladimir Putin? Oh, no, it was Zelensky. He was like, well, you couldn't have elections because you had a war. Maybe I need a war. Like, we need to start listening to what they're saying and believing them and stop thinking it's just, crazy wackadoodle stuff they're talking. No, they this is what they're talking about behind closed doors as well.
Yeah. I want to show this because this is very important. A very respected journalist also fired, Karen Attiah. I don't know if you guys, Karen Attiah came on. Let me remind folks of who she is. When Donald Trump spoke at the NABJ, I think Karen Attiah was against it. She stepped down before, and her position on the National Association of Black Journalists, because she said this is a man who is divisive and demonizing and all of that. And she, do we have her thing up? Sorry, I'm in the wrong page. Yeah. So, and this is what she said: the Washington Post fired me, but my voice will not be silenced. Now, if I can just show you, if you go through her thing, if you can put up, this is why she was fired. Okay. She said, I express sadness and fear for America. I wish I had the hope for gun control and that I could believe political violence has no place in this country. But we live in a country that accepts white children being massacred by gun violence, not just accepts, but worships violence. Okay, I don't see anything wrong with that. And then she says, political violence has no place in this country, but we also do nothing to curb the availability of guns used to carry out said violence. The denial and empty rhetoric is learned helplessness, because the truth is America is sick and there is no cure in sight. Okay. And then she says, I don't see anything wrong with that, because America, especially white America, is not going to do what it needs to get rid of the guns in their country. It will be thoughts and prayers. Violence is no place, out of a performance of goodness, not out of the resolve to convince their communities to disarm. Okay, that is true as well. For everyone saying political violence has no place in this country, remember, 2 Democratic legislators were shot in Minnesota just this year, and America shrugged and moved on. Okay, she's not lying.
Right.
Part of what keeps America so violent is the insistence that people perform care, empty goodness, and absolution for white men who espouse hatred and violence. Again, I don't care for empty rhetoric. I don't see anything wrong. And then, so she said, this is what she believes that really got her fired. She said she wasn't even referencing Charlie Kirk there. She said, my only reference to Kirk was one post, and that was his own words on record. And she said, quoting him, Black women do not have the brain processing power to be taken seriously. You have to go steal a white person's slot. Charlie Kirk said that. She put his own words up. My commentary received thoughtful engagement across platform support and virtually no public backlash. And yet the Post accused my measured blue sky post of being unacceptable, gross misconduct, and endangering the physical safety of colleagues. Charges without evidence, which I reject completely as false. They rushed to fire me without even a conversation. This was not only a hasty outreach, but a violation of my very standards of journalistic fairness and rigor the Post claims to uphold. I think she's 100% right. And I've seen it happen. As a matter of fact, it happened to me. So I understand where she is right now and what is going to happen to her. I mean, she's going to be fine, but they're going to continue. They're going to demonize her and, question her ethics, try to sully her reputation, call her racist and all kinds of names.
But here's the thing, Don. You feel like you're crazy, right? I'm asking you. You think maybe I'm tripping, maybe they have a good reason, but in reality, they don't. You understand that, right? Like they're gaslighting
no
us.
Good reason. And let me tell you, hold on. Not only are they gaslighting us, we understand that the First Amendment comes with consequences, okay? But they don't understand that when it's them facing consequences for the First Amendment, right? It's cancel culture.
No, that's what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is, so what 100% what I'm getting at is, I want everyone to understand that they are doing this blatantly in our face. And these are big players doing it. Washington Post, it's not MSNBC anymore. It's MS Now or whatever fascist Nazi name they got. Listen, everybody's bending the knee. Facebook and Meta, Amazon, CNN, MSNBC, Fox has always bent the knee. This is happening in our face, and they're gaslighting, because part of you is like, this can't be real, right? You guys see the hypocrisy, but of course they see the hypocrisy. The hypocrisy is the point, but they don't care. It's rules for thee and not for me, because they think they have this better version, better vision of what America is supposed to be like than we do, and that the ends will justify the means, that they think it's okay to destroy the democracy, to chop up the Constitution, as long as we get to this eventual ends, which is their utopian view of America. What they don't realize is, once you wind the watch, you can't unwind it. Once you cross that line, you can't uncross it. What white America needs to realize is this attempt to attack Black and brown America, LGBTQI plus, and everybody who doesn't agree with you, is just you setting up your future failure. You will fail. America will fail. And all of this will crumble because of you. And your utopian idea of America is not going to be what the end will be. The end will be civil unrest at your own hands. This has to stop. These blatant attacks on the First Amendment, once you don't have freedoms, Don, once you don't have freedom of speech, once you don't have freedom of, from illegal search and seizures, once you don't have the freedom from cruel and unusual punishment, once you don't have those freedoms anymore, they don't come back. We're crossing lines that can't be uncrossed, and they're doing it right in front of our face.
Jolly.
I know I went too deep, but goddamn, it's real.
No, you didn't go too deep. I'm just telling you that, but I do realize, and people don't understand that, the First Amendment is not sacrosanct. Right. When you work for private companies, people think that you can go online and say whatever you want. You can do. No, that's not the freedom of speech is really about the government. Right. That yes. They can create no law. And it appears like, since the government now and all of these institutions and entities are intertwined, it feels like the government right now is inhibiting free speech. It says shall create no law, but it feels like the government is hindering free speech now. And that is bordering, for me, on that they are completely trying to erase the First Amendment. And the First Amendment only means if you don't say anything that reflects badly on them, or a Republican or a MAGA person or Donald Trump or whatever institution happens to own that journalistic organization. You feel me?
Yes. And they're making it clear, too, that they're turning a blind eye to all this very violent rhetoric that's coming out of the right now. Both politicians and just everyday ordinary citizens online are really talking with some very violent rhetoric. I've had a inordinate amount of threats at me as of late. I get threats all the time online because I talk out against white people, but this is different now. And they're not saying anything to quash that. They're not trying to calm that. They're just turning a blind eye as if they don't notice it. This is the same administration who pardoned 1,600 people who committed violent acts of storming our Capitol and attempting to overthrow a free and fair election. I mean, dear God, the precedence has been set. I will pardon you, do violence in my name. I will support you. I will turn a blind eye to you. Just do my bidding. And listen, those dog whistles are being heard loud and clear by his dogs.
Yeah. And watch, the very people who ushered this in are going to suffer the biggest consequences for it. Mark my words.
Agreed.
All of those folks. The, I don't know what it's, something is going to eat the whatever. I forget what the thing is right now, but they're going to get eaten up by their own monster, the monster that they created. The lepers. I never thought the leopards would eat my face. Oh, I never thought the leopard would eat my face. Okay. And we love her, by the way. The other thing is that I want to show, put up the thing. This is Fox News talking about Kash Patel. I want to talk to Jolly about this. Fox News talking about Kash Patel saying knives are out for embattled FBI Director Kash Patel despite Trump support. Patel sought meeting with Trump following blunders as co-deputy begins work next week. So apparently he did such a terrible job. He's been doing a terrible job, but this whole Charlie Kirk investigation too did not make himself look good at all. And then not only are people around him, not only do they have knives out, the metaphorical knives out, but also the internet, and the internet is undefeated. Check this out.
It's not like I mean, if I had a dispute with DoorDash and Kash Patel was investigating it, would I get the credit? Would I get the DoorDash credit if Kash Patel was tasked with an investigation? Would I get the DoorDash credit or would I not? I imagine I would not. I imagine if there was a discrepancy on a DoorDash order, the head of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Kash Patel, would not be able to secure my credit of $11.90. What is this guy doing? I mean, the guy that did this to Charlie's, his parents turned him in. I mean, what could Kash Patel run? This is kind of an interesting question. What organization could Kash Patel run credibly? I don't know. Anyway, Max Blumenthal.
Okay, but listen, when Kash Patel showed up at the press conference in Utah and just was standing there looking off in the distance, I was like, why is he there? Right? And then because he had no authority, had no command, he has no, some people walk in the room and you're like, oh, that guy's in charge, right? That guy looks like the head of the FBI. And you're like, what is he doing there? And then the next day when they caught him and then Kash Patel spoke, and I kept thinking, well, I'm not sure. What did the FBI do? Because as the dad heard about it, like a family friend, secured him, held him there, called the police and said, the authorities and said, come get him. This is what, like, there was, okay. Do you know what I'm saying, Jolly? And yes. then Kash Patel gets up there and says, I want to thank this person and this person and this group and that group. And we had this many air assets immediately we deployed and we did this. And I'm like,
yeah, but
did you call his dad?
Yeah.
No, his dad called you. So I was like, what are you talking about, Kash Patel? Like,
Can we make sure though? This is very important to me because I agree with you. He didn't do shit. I made a video about this as well, talking about how he talked about the fixed wing assets and this is what happens when you let good cops be good cops. First of all, you're not a cop. You're a DEI hire. But let me say something. I want to point out, let it not be lost on the American people that Kash Patel has been a staunch Trump loyalist. Kash Patel knows precisely what boot polish tastes like. Kash Patel will do Trump's bidding without fucking hesitation. Kash Patel was instrumental in manipulating and hiding the Epstein files. Cash Patel is part of the regime, and he's about to be tossed out like yesterday's trash, because in a white supremacist regime, an Indian man will never, ever, 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 ever have a real seat at the table. And I want people to understand and notice the first loyalist, sycophant, hire, the first unqualified conspiracy theory loving sycophant hire to be on the chopping block is the brown man. I want everyone to understand that, so you fully understand the Trump regime.
Okay. You said that he's an Indian man who, I mean, well,
hey man,
where is Vivek? Isn't Vivek president or vice?
Yeah, right.
Vivek,
No,
is he vice president? Wait, Vivek is in the cabinet. He's the VP.
Exactly.
He's the ambassador. No, he's a secretary of defense. What is Vivek?
Yesterday's news, Don.
He's an Indian man, though. I mean, he was
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Correct. Correct.
Here
Vivek
is
Ramaswamy. Vivek Ramaswamy, who Shadow Cash Patel lives in. Vivek Ramaswamy, who licked the boot and kissed the ring and did everything he was told, at the end of the day was told, I don't know, maybe try to run for Senate in Ohio. And that didn't even work out for him, by the way. He's just gone. And so will Cash Patel. Anybody, listen to me, anybody in the regime that is making a martyr out of the man who said black women don't even have the processing power in their brain to think, making a martyr out of the man that said George Floyd was a drug addict, making a martyr out of the man who said that white people are being punished in this country. You're making a martyr out of that man. If you're in the regime that's making a martyr out of that man, just know, unless you're white like them, you're just a temporary tool that they're going to use until they toss you out like yesterday's trash. Anybody who's not white in that regime will go the way of the dodo.
You got me on that one. Sorry. You got me. The dodo bird. Okay, here's this is Cash Patel actually being questioned about what we just said. This is on Fox News.
I came in and I accelerated that process.
So in the 24 hours after, when we were still looking for the guy, I know you posted that we got him. And that ended up not being true. You took some incoming because of that. What led to you posting that? Why did you feel so certain about it? And what do you have to say about the criticism?
No, I appreciate this opportunity. Look, as I stated, I was being transparent with working with the public on our findings as I had them. I stated in that message that we had a subject and that we were going to interview him, and we did, and he was released. The job of the FBI is not just to manhunt the actual suspect who did the killing or suspects, but it's also to eliminate targets and eliminate subjects who are not involved in the process, and that's what we were doing. Could I have worded it a little better in the heat of the moment? Sure. But do I regret putting it out? Absolutely not. I was telling the world what the FBI was doing as we were doing, and I'm continuing to do that, and I challenge anyone out there to find a director that has been more transparent and more willing to work the media on high-profile cases or any case the FBI is handling than we have been under my
just
leadership.
Woo!
Yeah. Okay, let's say it. He was transparent. You were transparently telling us that you suck at your job. That's why you're in trouble, bro. Because while you were doing everything wrong and fucking it up, listen, I'm gonna tell you something. They didn't show the images of this cat until like the next morning. And he's already been like 8 hours on the run. Like this is like, I think, policing 101. We got images of him, blast him out to the public. This guy's currently on the run. If you see something, say something. But they waited like 8 hours. I mean, we could talk about how they bumbled this investigation, because they did in a big way, and how all these resources were wasted, because at the end of the day, it was his dad that turned him in. But this idea that transparency is something we need to respect. Transparency doesn't mean tell me what you're doing all the time.
Right.
Listen, I don't text my wife on the way to work, just got to work, drinking a cup of coffee on my computer. That way I can be transparent and not cheat on her. What I do is I just don't cheat on her, right? And then when that report comes out, oh, it didn't cheat, good report. That's what transparency is. I want to hear the fucking results of a good investigation. And if we have any questions, you answer those questions. I don't want fucking real-time updates of what you're doing, you idiot. That's not how it works. So the guy, he's literally just, he just wants Trump to be happy for him. He just wants Trump daddy to pat him on the head and say, you did a good job. You do a good job. And then like scratch him. Yeah, see, like that, like you're doing with your dog right now. That's
he's coming. He wants attention. He's like, Daddy, it's time for this to be over. I need some attention. I want to go for a walk. Okay, Jolly, thank you. I'll see you soon. We'll talk after this. And if you guys want to know anything about, of course, thanks for coming on. If you want to know anything about the Don Lemon Show, you can go to donlemon.com. There it is. Easy, donlemon.com. Make sure you check out our socials. We've been doing lots of interviews, stuff from the street, talking to people about what's happening in the world, the Charlie Kirk of it all of it. So if you want to know about the show, which is our main show on YouTube, you can click on the button, the little arrow. That's the YouTube button. That's our main show. You can subscribe right there and you can join, okay? Become a subscriber, join the channel. We appreciate all of your support. Also, back out if you want to know anything about the show. There it is, where you can find other streams of us. You can get us on iHeart Radio, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify. Also, if you want our merch, the merch button is right there. Click on merch, all the stuff that you want, including the mugs and the hats and the fans, which are the #1 seller. Boomer, there's just water in here. You don't want that, do you? All there. Look, he's trying to get some. It's all there on the site. Okay. So look, we're going to see you back here at 5 p.m. Eastern for Lemon Live at 5. And I want you to have a great Monday. I want you to be informed without being inundated with just a whole lot of craziness. Have a productive day. Take care of yourself. And I'm going to see you back here at 5. So until I see you then, turn the TV off. Bye. Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you.